Okay, everybody. So we're talking about male metabolic collapse today. So are you waking up tired, snapping at people around you and wondering, where did the motivation go? Right? It's not just burnout. This could be a male metabolic collapse. And yes, that's a real thing. So most men have no idea that it's happening until it wrecks your energy, your hormones, your mood, your sex drive. So let's break it down, what it is, how to spot it, and how to fix it starting today. So what is male metabolic collapse? So male metabolic collapse is when your body's core systems, your metabolism, your mitochondria, your hormones, your nervous system, they all start to fail together. So again, what you could have done 5 years ago, 10 years ago, now you can only do a fraction of it, and it's exhausting, right? So you might feel that constant fatigue or crashing in the afternoon. You need a nap by 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Unexplained weight gain, and especially around the belly, very common. Mood swings or irritability, zero motivation or any kind of sex drive. And also, yes, of course, sexual dysfunction. It's not aging. This is your body crying out for cellular repair. Okay, so all your systems don't have to collapse at the age of 50. There's a mitochondrial link to all of this, and the mitochondria are your tiny power plants in your cells, and when they slow down, everything else slows down. Low mitochondrial function means that your body can't make ATP. Your brain starts to slow down, and your hormones start to crash. So when this happens, your body's just into what I call survival mode. It holds on to fat, it tanks your testosterone, and it hijacks your motivation because you have an energy budget, right? There's only so much energy to go around, and you have your energy hungry tissues like the brain, the heart, the muscle, and they're kind of like the mafia. They're going to come in and take what they need, but there's still only a pot of energy, and it's the energy that you've given the body, and not what you eat becomes very, very important, especially as you age, because you need those nutrients more and more and more, especially when you're dealing with less and less and less. But even if you get the nutrients that you need, you have to have the mitochondria that are able to process that food. And if your mitochondria are dysfunctional, because there's a lot of oxidative stress, and where does oxidative stress come from? It comes from all the pollutants and the processed foods and the environmental exposures that you have. If you put something into the body, whether you mean to or not, such as plastic, right? Nobody wants to ingest plastic, but it's in the food. It's in, if you're drinking out of plastic water bottles, if you go out to dinner, stuff has been wrapped in plastic. You have no control over it. So this kind of stuff, it accumulates and the body has to deal with it, right? So, and it's not natural and it's very difficult for the body to break this stuff down. So it generates more and more oxidative stress. So that oxidative stress is accumulating and it's backing up all the systems. So your mitochondria are becoming dysfunctional. So we need to increase the mitochondria. We need to make sure they're as functional as possible. So you're not lazy, you're not unmotivated. It's just that your cells are running on empty and they need help. And there's stuff that we can do. So here's what pushes men into metabolic collapse: chronic stress and high cortisol, poor sleep. And those kind of go hand in hand, because if you're stressed out, you're probably not sleeping. And if you're not sleeping, you're going to be stressed out. It's just this very cyclical thing that catch-22 that it's very hard to catch up on. Nutrient depletion from processed foods, alcohol, or extreme dieting. And again, those environmental toxins like plastics, heavy metals, and endocrine disruptors. I mean, even just the parabens and phthalates, they're everywhere. They're in everything, all of your cosmetics and hair shampoos and soaps. So you have to buy stuff that specifically says it doesn't have parabens and phthalates in it, because it's very difficult for the body to process these types of things. And finally, ignoring symptoms and pushing through. I've had a lot of people do that and they burn out until, I've seen people end up in the hospital because they push themselves so hard, thinking that if they just push through it, that somehow everything will work out. And it never works that way, ever. So if you're tired, checked out, and gaining weight, even though you're not trying to gain, you don't want to gain weight, and maybe you're even trying to actively lose the weight, this might be you. So what can you do right now? So step one is to test the hormones and the metabolic markers. You're looking at free and total testosterone, cortisol and DHEA, thyroid, oxidative stress, and inflammation labs. Okay, so, and then you can do metabolic analysis, which is a VO2 max, which is the most correlative connection with longevity. So the higher your VO2 max, the longer you're projected to live. The lower your VO2 max, the less likely you are to, the less time you have, let's say. Then heart rate variability and mitochondrial functioning testing. And we can actually get an indirect mitochondrial functioning metric from metabolic analysis. So step 2 is to start repairing, and you want to use what I have in my Mito Reset stack, and that's CoQ10, right? Magnesium, your vitamins, all the Bs, right? I mean, it's not very exciting to say you're on a B vitamin, but they are so powerful and they're so cheap. There's really no excuse not to be on a high quality B vitamin. And vitamin D, of course. A lot of people can't absorb vitamin D because they have gut issues or they take it on an empty stomach. Vitamin D is fat soluble, which means it needs to attach to fat in order for you to process it. So if you're taking vitamin D on an empty stomach, well, then it's just going through you. It's not even absorbing. It's a waste of money. And then there's some peptides like MOTS-C is really great for improving mitochondrial functioning. Gonadorelin and kisspeptin are really great for helping increase naturally testosterone levels. And then supportive therapies like red light and EBU. EBU can help clean up oxidative stress in the body, and that's extracorporeal blood oxygenation and ozonation. And step 3 is to stop doing the things that just drain you, right? Fix your sleep, get some sunlight. That's totally underrated. Sunlight is extremely powerful for the cells and it generates vitamin D naturally. Cut out the toxins as best as you can and stop overtraining. You don't need to do the gym 3 times a day or 2 times a day or even every day. Like, it's not necessary and it's not healthy because exercise creates oxidative stress, and that's a normal function of exercise. It's a good thing, right? But if you're adding oxidative stress onto massive amounts of oxidative stress that are already there, it's not helping you. It's just causing more problems. And especially if you're not sleeping, exercise is the worst because you have to repair. The whole benefit of exercise comes from the recovery process when you sleep. So if you're exercising, you need to be sleeping as well. So I've worked with hundreds of men, and they thought they were burnt out or worse, just getting old. This is just what happens when you turn 50 or 60 or whatever the case may be. But once we fix the mitochondria and optimize their hormones, the energy came back, the weight dropped off, and really their spark just returned, the spark to life. They're like, wow, this is amazing. This is how I wanted to feel. And you can absolutely turn this around if you address that root cause. So now that we've exposed metabolic collapse, let's talk about the symptom that most men are afraid to talk about, and that is erectile dysfunction. And yes, it's all connected, and your mitochondria are at the center of it, and that's in the next video. If this resonates with you, be sure to download my Mito Reset mastery document below. The link is in the description. It gives you the protocol to reset your energy, your metabolism, and your mindset from the inside out. So be sure to subscribe because this series could change your life.